I finally got the restoration design part, not because it took so long, just because I didn't order it for a long time. And I've been working to pay for these parts. So, you know, it's just taken a while. So I do have the part for to finish the door hinge post bottom right. And let's take a look at that part. So, yeah, there you go. Nice and shiny. We'll hold it up there and take a look at how it fits, because we're going to have to cut it some, because this is sort of a patch. It's a cross between a patch and a replacement part. So here's where we left off. We had patched the outer longitudinal, treated the inside before patching with rust kill, sprayed some primer in there, did this patch because there was a big rust hole here. Then in addition, under here, there is still some perforations. However, this piece should cover those, so we're not too concerned about that. And here's how this is going to work. This piece from Restoration Design. Well, you can see the bend in the metal right there. That mates with that. So we're going to have to cut this down about that far. And then where this triangle is, which is part of the wheel well, to get it to mate up, I'm going to have to cut all the way down here and mate that cut up there. So gonna be quite a bit of trimming on this part to get it to fit properly. Also need to clean up here, clean all that paint off so I can get a good butt weld to the existing metal. So a lot of trimming and fitting. But once I get that all kind of dialed in, I'll show it to you, and then we can start doing some welding after the fitting. So my first cut, I removed about 5/8 off the top, and now I'm going to go down the side where it fits onto that triangle piece and trim that off. I do as much of this trimming as I can with the piece locked in a vise to clamp it super steady. The closer your clamp is to where you're cutting, the less vibration and the better your body saw will work. So that's just something I've found works the best. Sometimes you can't fit it in a vise very good and you got to clamp it to something else like a block of wood or something, but if you get a bunch of vibration, you'll never make any headway. Here's what we ended up with after about 2 hours of cutting and trimming and grinding. So got it drilled out for rosette welds. Had to leave a little round area. That's where one of those holes was cut in there with the hole saw for the AC lines. So I've already test fitted this a couple times, probably a dozen times, and now I'm going to get it on the car and start welding it up. We'll start with a couple of spot welds along that seam. It's almost too big. I think I can stitch it here where it gets a little wide. Once I get that spotted, I'll start tightening all this up with sheet metal screws and clamps. Got the top edge spotted, and now I'm working down the left side there, a couple sheet metal screws to tighten it up. And then I'll do this side where it goes in that corner. And then finally I'll pull the bottom which it's got a little gap now. I'll have to do some pounding and pulling, but we'll get it to mate up. So here's what we ended up with. Top edge, it's okay. Note that there's extra metal from the restoration design part. Has that piece is wider than the original, but that's okay. That's all good metal. The bottom never really folded down to match. So where I had my holes drilled for my rosette welds, those ended up like half and half, basically. Even, you know, beating on it and pulling with vice grips and all that stuff. But what I did do is on the back side, I went and added some extra welds back here to the metal on the back side. So that'll help keep that folded over and in place. And then down this side, it was really tough because it's just super tight to get in that corner. And then, of course, you can't really grind things off to make it look pretty anyway. And then, of course, we have this hole in the fender, which was part of that whole AC thing. So eventually I'll have to put a patch over that. You know, that doesn't have to be anything special. It's not particularly structural. So I'm not too worried about it at this point in time. Of course, I'll put primer on it, keep it from flash rusting. And as another note, because this hole is on the back side is so, again, where they drilled with the hole saw, I couldn't get weld in there. But liberal amount of seam sealer will fix that up, which all this stuff will get. So clean it up, prime it, and let it be. Another segment done. Thanks for watching.